All right, and now we turn the page officially to 2025. And preseason polls, you hear a lot of arguments about the value of a preseason poll, and more often than not, they do turn out to be very similar to the way things ended the previous year. That is certainly the case as you get a look here. Let's take a look at each of these teams individually real quick. North Dakota State, as we said, the defending regular season champions in the Summit League, and the Bison, the favorite this year after being picked 7th a year ago as a result. They lead the way with 6 first-place votes.
They were a one-win team in conference in 2023, and they turned that around. They go 6-1-1 last year. They were excellent in one-goal games. 5 of their 6 wins were by 1 goal, and they return a lot. There's going to be some new faces on the team, of course, but they bring back, when you bring back the Offensive Player of the Year in Morgan Russman, who had 8 goals in Summit League play, 4 more than anybody else. You bring back the Goalkeeper of the Year in Peyton Mulberry. It's 2 years in a row now the Bison have had the Goalie of the Year. That's a good place to start. 5 of their 6 all-conference picks are back from last year. They've made Dakota Field a fortress. They've been awfully good inside Fargo. I know they lost on penalty kicks in the conference tournament there, but they've not lost a home game against a conference opponent in over 2 years now. So that's a good recipe for success. When you've got an attack that's firing, a defense that is rock solid, and you don't lose at home, you're going to be in the mix for another title this year.
Absolutely. Speaking of teams that are good at home, Brock Thompson and South Dakota State Jackrabbits always good at home as well. And then when half of your league games are played there, that's always a good sign. Jackrabbits coming in at number 2 in this year's preseason poll with 3 first-place votes.
They had the stingiest defense in the league last year, only 5 goals allowed in league play. They have finished in the top 3 now for 12 consecutive years. They've been incredibly consistent in the regular season, and that has bled into that postseason success. They've got some big names to replace. Casey Manding and the Merdzik twins were fantastic for this team over the last 4 years. But they are so good and so young in attack. We saw Mia Bosch and Haley Christensen really step up as freshmen last year. They combined for 7 goals and 6 assists. They're only going to get better. This is a Jackrabbit team that just always seems to find a way when it matters most. And you would expect Brock Thompson and his staff to be able to fill in some of the holes as the season goes on.
Denver's a perennial power, has been for a long time in the Summit League. You know they're going to have something to say about this whole thing by the end again, and they come in at number 3 this year.
Yeah, the Pioneers did not win the regular season title for the first time in 6 years. They had won 6 in a row until NDSU knocked them off their perch last year. They still finished second, same points total as the year before, but the Bison just had such a phenomenal season. They ended up being a couple of points short of the regular season crown. Just like everybody, they've got people to replace, but they still have a lot of talent, and you just know that Julianne Stitch and this staff is going to pull things together. They play such an attractive brand of football. It's so much fun to watch this Pioneer team go to work. They're going to be a force to reckon with once again.
Austin Reisenhoover and the Oral Roberts Golden Eagles, they return about as much as anyone in the Summit League in terms of all league caliber players, whether that be first team, second team, honorable mention, or all newcomer from a year ago. Golden Eagles coming in at number 4, but that's a team that I think people are going to want to keep an eye on.
They have made the tournament title game 2 of the last 3 seasons now, and as you said, a ton of attacking talent coming back up and down the lineup. They are a team that nobody wants to play, and they've added as well. I think Brandon Castleberry, a player who was so good for Kansas City, a former All-League member, now a part of their attack. Watch out for the Golden Eagles.
Yeah. Omaha's another team that's had a lot of tournament success under Tim Walters. They come in right smack dab at the middle at number 5.
They only lost once in Summit League regular season play last year. They also have been in the title game now 2 times in the last 4 years. Defense has been the name of the game for the Mavs in recent seasons. They'll have a little different look this year. They graduate the 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, Reagan Zimmers, but still a team that knows how to get the job done.
South Dakota is a team that was a tournament team last year, despite not winning a lot of games. The Coyotes were close. They drew a lot within the conference. And Michael Thomas, now in his 8th year, he had a lot of newcomers on that team a year ago. Those kids are a year older, a year better now.
Yeah, Ashby Johnson coming back, Campbell Fisher in goal. Molly Van Metren's one of the best all-around midfielders in the conference, even though she wasn't on the honors list last year. This is a Coyote team that's been in that 4th, 5th, 6th range. They've been in the tournament for the last 5 years. It's just a matter of, can they take that next step? Can they get over the hump and make a deep run in November?
Meanwhile, St. Thomas, a little extra to play for this year with the Tommies being eligible for the postseason tournament for the first time.
Sheila McGill has been doing this for 19 seasons. She was a coach of the year so many times at the D3 level. She's got a ton of talent at her disposal. And as you said, now finally, they've got the carrot of being able to play in the postseason. It's exciting to see what might be for the Tommies here in 2025.
The only new head coach in the Summit League this year, Henrik Sohn up at North Dakota, Fighting Hawks in at number 8.
Grace Miller was one of the best goalies in the country last year as a true freshman for this team. Henrik Sohn coached her last year. Again, he was the associate head coach last season, now taking over the reins for the Fighting Hawks. They didn't win a game in Summit League play, but 3 of their 4 losses were by 1 goal. They drew against 4 other opponents, including on the road at Denver. This Fighting Hawks team is close. We'll see what steps they take under new leadership.
And rounding things out, Kansas City, a team that finished 1-7 in the league last year, but they had 4 one-goal defeats in conference play. They were close.
The margins are so thin in this league. All of these teams are just there and thereabouts. This Ruse squad is only a year away from reaching the Summit League tournament. Jess Smith was Coach of the Year in 2023. Tough season last year, but don't be surprised if they do maybe not a complete North Dakota State and go from the bottom to the top,
right,
but you wouldn't be surprised if they do make a climb up the table this season based on the infrastructure and the talent they have.
And if nothing else, they know that something like that, what North Dakota State did a year ago, can be done now.
It's possible. The Brooklyn is there, that's for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that is a look at this year's preseason poll in Summit League women's soccer. Stay tuned. We're going to give you a chance to hear from each of the head coaches and a bunch of players here over the next hour or so. So stay tuned for that. We'll be back with Kansas City right after this.